Hello everyone. In today's video, I bring you an impactful story that will change your perception of the future. Let's meet Fletcher Devereux, a 29-year-old young man who faced death head-on and came back with shocking revelations that will alter your worldview. During his near-death experience, he received messages from beings of light about what will happen on October 1st, 2024, and what he saw will leave you speechless. So, before we begin, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any content like this, and activate the notification bell. Now, get ready to embark on an incredible and transformative journey. My name is Fletcher Devereux, and I'm here to share with you a story that completely changed the course of my life. I'm 29 years old now, but the journey I'm about to tell you began a decade ago when I was just 19. I was born and raised in Denver, Colorado, a city embraced by the majestic Rocky Mountains. Those mountains have always been a metaphor for life to me, imposing and beautiful from a distance, but challenging and sometimes intimidating up close. Before the event that transformed my existence, I was just another lost young man, trying to find my place in the world. I worked as a model, more out of lack of options than passion. It was a path society seemed to approve of, but it didn't resonate with my deeper desires. I felt like I was living someone else's life, following a script that wasn't written by me. The day that changed everything was December 25th, 1993, yes, Christmas Day. At that time, I could never have imagined that a simple car ride would turn into the most important journey of my life. It was a typical winter day in Denver, with snow covering the streets and Christmas lights twinkling on every house like earthly stars trying to compete with the night sky. I was on my way to a football game with a client, hoping to make some contacts that could boost my modeling career. That's when I made a mistake that, ironically, would end up giving me a new purpose. I unfastened my seatbelt for a brief moment to grab my cell phone. At that instant, another car appeared unexpectedly. As I tried to swerve, I lost control of the vehicle. What followed were seconds that seemed like an eternity. The car rolled over several times, and I was thrown out. The last thing I remember before losing consciousness was the feeling of flying, as if for a moment I had freed myself from the bonds of gravity and reality. I was found about 40 feet away from the wrecked car. By a stroke of luck, or perhaps something more, 2 off-duty nurses passed by the accident scene and provided crucial first aid before the paramedics arrived. I was rushed to the hospital, where the doctors, fighting to save my life, induced me into a coma. It was during that month of coma that I experienced something that challenged everything I thought I knew about life, death, and the purpose of our existence. A near-death experience that not only saved me physically but also rescued me spiritually. Today, 10 years later, I am still uncovering the depths of what I experienced in that state between life and death. Every day brings a new revelation, a new understanding of what was shown to me. And it is this ongoing journey of discovery and purpose that I want to share with you. Because what I learned is not just about me, but about all of us and the future that awaits. The moment of transition between this world and the other is something that words can hardly capture, but I will try to describe it as best as I can. I remember closing my eyes during the accident, convinced that it would be my last moment of consciousness. The fear, the pain, the panic, all of it disappeared in an instant, as if someone had turned off a switch. And then, I opened my eyes. The first thing I noticed was the light. It wasn't an ordinary light, like sunlight or a lamp. It was a light that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Intense, but not blinding. Welcoming, but neither warm nor cold. It was as if the light itself was alive, pulsing with an energy I had never experienced before. At that moment, I realized I was no longer feeling pain. My body, which seconds earlier had been thrown from a car at high speed, now felt light, almost ethereal. I could move effortlessly, as if I were floating in an ocean of light. That's when I noticed the presences around me. 6 figures appeared, emerging from the light as if they were part of it. They were tall, majestic, made of the same light that surrounded me, but somehow more concentrated, more alive. They didn't have faces in the traditional sense. but I could feel their expressions, a mixture of compassion, wisdom, and a love so deep that it made me question if I had ever truly understood the meaning of that word before. These beings didn't speak, at least not with words. It was as if we communicated directly mind to mind, essence to essence. Every thought was accompanied by a wave of emotions and understandings that went far beyond what our language can express. The first message I received was one of comfort. They assured me that everything was okay, that I was safe. It was in that moment that I fully understood that I had left my physical body behind. Strangely, this realization didn't scare me. On the contrary, I felt a deep peace, as if I had finally come home after a long journey. The beings of light approached me, forming a circle. I felt as if they were examining me, not in a clinical or cold way, but with a deep and loving interest. It was as if they were recalling every detail of my life, every choice I had made, every person I had met. Then, gently, they lifted me. Not physically, of course, as I no longer had a physical body, but it was as if they were elevating my consciousness to a higher level of perception. As this happened, I began to see and feel things that went beyond my previous understanding of the universe. I saw the interconnectedness of all things. Every thought, every action, every living being was linked in a cosmic web of energy and consciousness. I saw how my actions, even the most insignificant ones, had impacted the world around me. It was a vision both humbling and inspiring. At that moment, I understood that I was on the threshold between two worlds. Part of me wanted to stay, to dive deeper into this reality of light and unconditional love. But another part knew there was more to do, that my journey on Earth was not yet complete. The beings of light seemed to understand my dilemma. They conveyed to me a feeling that, regardless of the choice I made, it would be okay. There was no judgment, only acceptance and love. It was in this expanded state of consciousness that I received the revelations that would change the course of my life, and, potentially, the course of many others. But that's something I will share with you soon. For now, I want you to understand the depth of this experience, the feeling of being completely immersed in a love and wisdom that transcends our earthly understanding. This transition, this brief moment between worlds, showed me that there is so much more to our existence than we can see or touch. It opened my eyes to a greater purpose, a deeper connection with the universe and with all the beings that inhabit it. One of the most profound and transformative experiences during my journey on the other side was what many call a life review. But it wasn't a simple recap of past events. It was a total immersion in every moment of my existence, viewed through a lens of universal understanding and compassion. Imagine watching a movie of your life, but instead of being a passive viewer, you are at the same time the actor, the director, and the camera itself. You don't just see your actions, but you feel every emotion, understand every motivation, and, most importantly, experience the impact of your actions on everyone around you. The review began with my first moments of consciousness. I saw myself as a baby, absorbing the world around me with fascination and curiosity. I felt the unconditional love of my parents, especially my mother, Margot. I could feel how that love shaped my perception of the world and myself. As we moved through my childhood and adolescence, I saw moments of joy, sadness, triumph, and failure, but the most impressive thing was how I could feel the impact of each of my actions on others. When I was kind to a classmate who was being bullied, I could feel the relief and gratitude he experienced. On the other hand, when I made hurtful comments about someone behind their back, I felt the pain and insecurity my words caused. This experience was not judgmental. The beings of light who accompanied me were not there to punish or reward me. Instead, they guided me through this journey with incredible compassion, helping me understand the consequences of my actions and decisions. I saw the moments when I strayed from my true self, when I made decisions based on fear or the expectations of others rather than following my heart. I could feel the dissonance these choices created in my soul. At the same time, I experienced the joy and fulfillment that came when I acted with authenticity and love. A particularly powerful moment was reliving the day of the accident. I saw my haste, my distraction, the fatal moment when I unfastened my seatbelt. But instead of guilt, what I felt was a deep understanding. I realized that that moment, as tragic as it was part of a larger plan. The life review didn't just focus on the past. Somehow, I was able to glimpse potential futures. I saw different versions of myself following different paths, making different choices. This gave me a profound understanding of the power of our decisions and the responsibility we have in shaping not only our lives, but the world around us. At the end of this experience, I felt transformed. I had a new appreciation for the interconnectedness of all things and the importance of every action, every word, every thought. I understood that we are not here just to live our lives in isolation, but to grow, learn, and help others do the same. This life review showed me that each of us has a much greater impact on the world than we can imagine. Every interaction, no matter how small, has the potential to create ripples of change. I came to understand that the true purpose of life is not in great achievements or recognition, but in how we treat one another and the love we share. I came out of this experience with a new mission: to live each moment with awareness and compassion, understanding that every choice I make has the power to affect not only my life but the lives of those around me. It's an enormous responsibility, but also an incredible gift. This life review was not the end of my journey on the other side, but rather the beginning of a much deeper understanding of my role in the universe. And it was this understanding that prepared me for the revelations that were about to come. After the intense experience of the life review, the beings of light guided me to what I can only describe as a spiritual counsel. It was at this moment that I received the most profound and impactful revelations of my near-death experience. The beings gathered around me in a closer circle. The energy between us intensified, and I felt as if I was being elevated to an even higher level of consciousness. It was then that they began to share with me knowledge and visions that went far beyond my previous understanding of the universe and our role in it. The first revelation was about the nature of reality. They showed me that the physical world we know is just a small fraction of a much larger and more complex reality. I saw how everything in the universe is interconnected, not just physically but energetically and spiritually. Every thought, every emotion, every action creates waves of energy that ripple across the cosmos, affecting everything and everyone. They explained to me that our true nature is spiritual. We are beings of light, temporarily inhabiting physical bodies to learn, grow, and evolve. Our journey on Earth is just part of a much larger journey of spiritual evolution. The second revelation was about the purpose of life. They showed me that we are not here by chance. Each of us has a unique purpose, a role to play in the grand cosmic plan. This purpose is not something fixed or predetermined, but something we discover and create through our choices and actions. It was at this moment that I received the revelation about my own purpose. The beings told me that I had an important mission: to help people reconnect with their spiritual essence, to remember who they truly are. They showed me that many people are disconnected from their true nature, living lives of fear, separation, and conflict. My role would be to help them awaken to their divine nature and to the interconnectedness of all things. The third revelation, and perhaps the most impactful, was about the future of humanity and the planet Earth. The beings showed me visions of the future that were both inspiring and alarming. They warned me about drastic climate changes that would begin to occur starting on October 1st, 2024. These changes, they said, would not only be physical, manifesting through more intense storms, floods, and droughts, but also spiritual. I saw images of flooded cities, burning forests, and people struggling to adapt to a rapidly transforming world. But I also saw communities coming together, people rediscovering their connection to nature and to each other. The beings explained that these climate changes are part of a larger process of planetary transformation. The Earth is entering a new cycle, a new phase of evolution, and we, as inhabitants of this planet, need to be ready for this transformation. They emphasized that these changes are not a punishment, but an opportunity for collective growth and evolution. It's a call to awaken, to reconnect with our true nature and with the planet we inhabit. The fourth revelation was about the power of love and compassion. The beings showed me that love is not just an emotion, but the most powerful force in the universe. It is love that holds everything together, that heals, that transforms. They made me understand that practicing unconditional love and compassion is not just an act of kindness, but a necessity for our survival and evolution as a species. Finally, I received a revelation about the nature of time and reality. The beings showed me that time, as we know it, is an illusion. Past, present, and future exist simultaneously in an eternal now. Our choices and actions in the present have the power to influence not only the future, but also the past. This understanding gave me a new perspective on free will and the responsibility we have in every moment of our lives. All these revelations were not just conveyed as information, but as lived experiences. I didn't just hear or see these truths, I felt them, I lived them, I became a part of them. It was an overwhelming experience that expanded my consciousness in ways I never thought possible. When the revelations ended, I felt transformed. It was as if I had been given a new pair of eyes, capable of seeing beyond appearances and understanding the deeper truths of existence. But along with this knowledge came great responsibility. I knew that I had been entrusted with vital information for the future of humanity, and that my mission was to share this knowledge and help others awaken to these truths. The beings of light assured me that I would not be alone in this mission. Many other people around the world are receiving similar calls, each with their own unique role to play in the great transformation that is to come. Together, we form a network of light, working to elevate the consciousness of humanity and prepare the way for a new chapter in the history of our species and our planet. These revelations marked the turning point in my near-death experience. From that moment on, I knew that my life would never be the same. I had been given a calling, a mission, and now it was up to me to decide how I would respond to that call. After receiving these profound revelations, I found myself faced with a crucial choice. The beings of light who had guided me through this spiritual journey presented me with two options. I could remain in this realm of light and unconditional love, continuing my spiritual journey in a higher plane of existence, or I could return to my physical body on Earth to fulfill the mission that had been revealed to me. Initially, the idea of staying was extremely tempting. The peace, love, and understanding I experienced in this spiritual realm were indescribable. Here, there was no pain, no fear, no confusion. Everything made sense, and I felt completely at home, accepted and loved in a way I had never experienced on Earth. Moreover, the prospect of returning to my broken body and facing the long and painful recovery that awaited me was frightening. I knew that coming back would mean confronting not only physical pain but also the emotional and spiritual challenges of integrating this transcendent experience into my everyday life. However, as I contemplated my choice, I began to feel a strong sense of responsibility. The revelations I received were not just for me, but for all of humanity. I had been entrusted with knowledge and insights that could help many people prepare for the changes to come. How could I stay here, enjoying this peace and harmony, knowing that I had the ability to make a significant difference in the world? The beings of light, sensing my dilemma, surrounded me with an even more intense love. They assured me that, regardless of my choice, I would be supported and loved. There was no judgment, only acceptance and understanding. It was then that I had a powerful vision. I saw myself back on Earth, sharing my experience and the revelations I had received. I saw people being touched by my words, awakening to their own spiritual nature. I saw communities forming, people coming together to face the challenges ahead. I saw hope blossoming in the midst of adversity. In that moment, I understood that my journey on Earth was not yet complete. There was more to learn, more to grow, and more to contribute. The mission given to me was not a burden, but a gift, an opportunity to serve a purpose greater than myself. With that understanding, I made my decision. I chose to return. It wasn't an easy choice, but I felt it was the right one. The beings of light enveloped me in an embrace of pure energy, transmitting their love, support, and encouragement. They assured me that, even though I was returning to the physical plane, I would never truly be separated from them. The connection we had established would remain, guiding and supporting me in my mission. As I prepared to return, I felt a mixture of emotions. There was apprehension about the challenges that lay ahead, but also a sense of purpose and determination. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I also knew that I had been prepared for this journey. The beings of light gave me one last message before I left. They reminded me that love is the most powerful force in the universe, and that I should always act from that place of love. They encouraged me to trust my intuition and to remain open to the guidance I would continue to receive. With one last look at this realm of light and love, I felt myself being pulled back to my physical body. The transition was quick, almost instant. One moment I was surrounded by light, and the next, I was back in the darkness of my induced coma. My choice to return marked the beginning of a new journey. A journey of healing, integration, and fulfilling the mission entrusted to me. I knew the challenges would be great, but I also knew I wasn't alone. I carried with me the light, love, and wisdom I had experienced on the other side, and I was determined to share these gifts with the world. The return to my physical body was an intense and disorienting experience. After floating in a realm of light and infinite understanding, I suddenly found myself confined to the limits of a broken and painful body. The contrast couldn't have been more dramatic. I slowly opened my eyes, blinking against the fluorescent light of the hospital. The first thing I saw was my mother's face, Margot. Her eyes were red and swollen from crying, but a smile of relief lit up her face. She held my hand with a strength I had never noticed before, as if she feared I might disappear if she let go. I tried to speak, but my throat was dry and sore from the breathing tube that had recently been removed. My mother quickly offered me some water, her hands trembling slightly as she held the cup. It was at that moment that the reality of my physical condition hit me fully. Every breath was an effort. Every movement caused pain. Fractures in my jaw, ribs, and pelvis severely limited my mobility. My lungs, damaged in the accident, struggled to take in enough oxygen. But despite the physical discomfort, there was a sense of peace and purpose that permeated my being. The memories of my experience on the other side remained vivid, anchored in my consciousness in a way that I knew would never fade. In the days following my awakening, I underwent a series of tests and consultations with doctors. They were astonished by my recovery, calling it miraculous. From a medical standpoint, I shouldn't have survived the accident, let alone woken from the coma with my mental faculties intact. While the doctors focused on my physical recovery, I wrestled with the challenge of integrating my spiritual experience into the hospital reality. How could I explain what I had experienced? How could I begin to fulfill the mission I had been given when I could barely sit up in bed without assistance? It was during this time that I began to notice subtle changes in my perception. Sometimes, I could see auras of light around people, nurses, doctors, visitors. Occasionally, I would hear whispers of guidance, as if the beings of light were still with me, guiding me through this difficult transition. My mother was my anchor during this period. She stayed by my side tirelessly, offering comfort and encouragement. Although I hadn't yet shared the details of my experience with her, I think she sensed that something profound had changed within me. As my physical strength slowly began to return, I felt a growing urgency to share my experience. The revelations about the climatic and spiritual changes that would begin in 2024 weighed heavily on my mind. I knew I had vital information to share, but I also knew I needed to be cautious about how and with whom I shared it. It was during this initial phase of recovery that I met Amelia Lawson, a nurse who had gone through her own near-death experience a few years earlier. She was the first person I felt safe enough to share some details of my experience. Her understanding and acceptance were a balm to my soul, giving me hope that others, too, might understand and benefit from what I had to share. My awakening was just the beginning of a much longer journey. A journey of physical healing, spiritual integration, and discovering how to fulfill the mission entrusted to me. I knew the road ahead would be challenging, but I also knew I carried within me a light that no adversity could extinguish. As I grew stronger day by day, I began to plan the next steps. How would I share my message? How would I help people prepare for the changes to come? These questions occupied my thoughts as I worked on my physical recovery. The awakening was not just a return to consciousness, but a rebirth. I was no longer the same Fletcher Devereux who had gotten into that car on Christmas Day. I was changed, transformed, with a new purpose and a new understanding of life and the universe. And so, with determination and faith, I began to take the first steps on my new journey. The months following my awakening were, without a doubt, the most challenging of my life. Physical recovery was a daily battle, requiring a strength and determination I didn't know I possessed. Every small progress, from being able to sit up in bed on my own to taking my first hesitant steps with a walker, was a hard-won victory. Physical therapy became an integral part of my daily routine. Hours of painful and repetitive exercises tested not only my physical endurance but also my mental strength. There were days when the pain seemed unbearable, days when discouragement threatened to overwhelm me. In those moments, I clung to the memories of my near-death experience, reminding myself of the greater purpose that awaited me beyond the hospital walls. My mother, Margot, stayed by my side throughout this entire process. Her constant presence and unconditional love were crucial to my recovery. She was my most fervent supporter, celebrating every small progress as if it were a major victory. Little by little, I began to share some details of my experience with her. Though initially skeptical, she listened with an open mind, realizing the deep transformation I had undergone. Amelia Lawson, the nurse who had also experienced a near-death experience, became an invaluable ally during this period. Our conversations were a refuge where I could freely express my thoughts and feelings about what I had gone through. She helped me begin to process the enormity of my experience and to think about ways to integrate this new knowledge into my life. As my physical condition improved, I faced a new challenge: emotional and psychological recovery. The doctors diagnosed me with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, as a result of the accident. Vivid nightmares of the accident and sudden flashbacks were frequent, leaving me shaken and disoriented. There were moments when the line between my near-death experience and present reality became blurred, causing confusion and anxiety. To deal with these emotional challenges, I started working with a therapist who specialized in trauma and spiritual experiences. He helped me develop mindfulness and meditation techniques to anchor myself in the present when flashbacks or anxiety threatened to overwhelm me. These practices also helped me maintain a connection with the peace and clarity I had experienced during my spiritual journey. While I fought for both physical and emotional recovery, I felt a growing urgency to start sharing my message. The visions of the climatic and spiritual changes that would begin in 2024 were constantly on my mind. I felt the weight of the responsibility entrusted to me, but I also felt inadequately prepared to fulfill this mission. I began to keep a detailed journal of my memories and insights from the near-death experience. This writing process became both therapeutic and enlightening, helping me organize my thoughts and crystallize the lessons I had learned. As I wrote, I discovered that I was receiving additional guidance, insights, and understandings that seemed to come directly from the beings of light who had guided me. My physical recovery progressed slowly but steadily. After 3 months of hospitalization and intensive rehabilitation, I was finally discharged from the hospital. Returning home was a bittersweet experience. On one hand, it was a relief to escape the sterile, institutional environment of the hospital. On the other hand, I felt vulnerable and unprepared to face the outside world. My home, once a place of comfort and familiarity, now felt strange and disconnected from the person I had become. I looked at photos of the old Fletcher, the carefree young model, and barely recognized that version of myself. The disconnect between my previous life and my new reality was palpable and, at times, overwhelming. However, it was at home that I began to take concrete steps toward my new mission. I transformed an empty room into a space for meditation and study. I spent hours reading about near-death experiences, climate change, spirituality, and expanded consciousness. I started exploring ways to share my message, considering writing a book, giving talks, or creating a support group for people who had experienced similar things. The struggle for recovery is continuous and multifaceted. Each day brings new challenges, but also new opportunities for growth and understanding. Slowly, I feel myself becoming stronger, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. Looking toward the future, I know the path ahead will not be easy. The changes I saw in my visions are daunting, and the task of helping people prepare for them seems monumental. However, I carry with me the certainty that I am not alone on this journey. I feel the constant presence of the beings of light, guiding and supporting me every step of the way. As I recover and grow stronger, I begin to understand that my own journey of healing and transformation is an integral part of my mission. Through my struggle and recovery, I am learning valuable lessons about resilience, faith, and the power of love. Lessons I know will be crucial in helping others navigate the changes to come. And so, day by day, I continue my fight for recovery, knowing that each step brings me closer to being ready to fulfill the greater purpose that was revealed to me during my near-death experience. As my physical recovery progresses, I feel a growing urgency to begin sharing my message with the world. The visions of climatic and spiritual changes that will begin in 2024 weigh constantly on my mind, reminding me of the importance of the mission entrusted to me. Initially, I start modestly. I organize small discussion groups at my home, inviting friends, family, and acquaintances who show interest in my experience. In these meetings, I share details of my spiritual journey, the revelations I received, and the changes to come. The reactions are varied. Some are fascinated and inspired, while others are skeptical and doubtful. I quickly learn that sharing this information requires not only courage but also tact and sensitivity. Encouraged by the interest these small gatherings generate, I decide to expand my reach. I start writing a blog, detailing my near-death experience and the lessons I learned. To my surprise, the blog quickly gains followers, not just locally, but across the country and even internationally. I receive messages from people who have had similar experiences, as well as from individuals who feel touched and transformed by my words. As my audience grows, I receive invitations to speak at local events, support groups, churches, community centers. Each talk is a challenge, forcing me to confront my fears and insecurities. Public speaking has never been my strength, and the controversial nature of my message adds an extra layer of pressure. However, with each event, I feel more confident and articulate. A turning point occurs when I'm invited to participate in a popular podcast about spirituality and paranormal phenomena. The interview is broadcast to a national audience, exposing my story and message to a much wider public. The reactions are immediate and intense. My phone doesn't stop ringing with interview requests, event invitations, and messages of support and curiosity. With this increased exposure, however, also comes scrutiny and criticism. Skeptics question the veracity of my experience, and some accuse me of being a charlatan seeking attention. The scientific community, in particular, is skeptical of my claims about future climate changes. I face these challenges with patience and understanding, reminding myself that skepticism is a natural and necessary part of the process of accepting new ideas. Despite the challenges, I continue to feel a strong urge to share my message. I begin working on a book, detailing not only my near-death experience but also offering practical guidance on how people can prepare for the changes to come. The writing process is both cathartic and clarifying, helping me deepen my own understanding of the revelations I received. In parallel with my outreach work, I continue my studies and research. I delve into topics such as climate change, sustainability, spirituality, and expanded consciousness. I seek to establish connections with scientists, environmentalists, and spiritual leaders, hoping to create a network of individuals committed to preparing for the future changes. As my message spreads, I begin to notice subtle changes in the people around me. Some begin to adopt more sustainable practices in their daily lives. Others seek to deepen their own spiritual journey. I see communities forming, people coming together to discuss and prepare for the future. However, I also face moments of doubt and fear. The enormity of the task ahead sometimes feels overwhelming. There are nights when I wake up in panic, questioning whether I am doing enough, whether I am truly making the difference the beings of light expected of me. In those moments of doubt, I turn to the meditation and spiritual connection practices I developed during my recovery. I feel the comforting presence of the beings of light, reaffirming my purpose and reminding me that I am not alone on this journey. As time passes and I approach 2024, I feel a mixture of anticipation and apprehension. I know that the changes I saw in my visions are drawing near, and that my work of preparation is far from finished. But I also feel a growing sense of hope and purpose. I see the seeds I've planted beginning to sprout, and I have faith that together, we can navigate the changes to come and emerge into a more conscious and connected world. We are now in 2024, and the date of October 1st, which I saw in my visions, is approaching rapidly. The climatic and spiritual changes revealed to me during my near-death experience are about to begin, and I feel a growing urgency in every fiber of my being. My current focus is to prepare as many people as possible for these imminent changes. Through my book, which became an unexpected bestseller, lectures, workshops, and online presence, I work tirelessly to spread the message and offer practical guidance. I organize retreats and seminars focused on 3 main areas: physical, mental, and spiritual preparation. In the physical aspect, I teach self-sufficiency techniques, sustainable agriculture, and adaptation to extreme climate conditions. Mentally, I focus on resilience techniques, stress management, and adaptive thinking. Spiritually, I guide people through meditative practices and consciousness expansion, helping them reconnect with their divine essence and the interconnectedness of all things. At the same time, I work to strengthen the global network of individuals and communities committed to preparing for the upcoming changes. I collaborate with climate scientists, environmentalists, spiritual leaders, and tech innovators to develop holistic strategies for adaptation and mitigation. The challenges I face are significant. There is still resistance from sectors of society that see my predictions as alarmist or unfounded. The scientific community, in particular, remains skeptical about my claims regarding specific climate changes. I handle this opposition with patience and understanding, recognizing that skepticism is a natural part of the process of accepting new ideas. Now, as October approaches, I notice changes happening around me. More people are awakening to the urgency of the climate situation and the need for a spiritual transformation. I see communities forming, people coming together to create mutual support systems and explore more sustainable ways of living. However, I also observe an increase in anxiety and fear among those who are aware of the imminent changes. Part of my work now involves helping people navigate these difficult emotions, reminding them that while the challenges ahead are significant, they also represent an opportunity for growth and the collective evolution of humanity. In my personal life, I intensify my own spiritual and preparatory practices. I spend more time in deep meditation, continuously seeking guidance from the beings of light who guided me during my near-death experience. These sessions of spiritual connection provide me not only with comfort and clarity, but also new insights and information that I share with my followers. As October approaches, I feel a mixture of emotions, anticipation, apprehension, but also a deep sense of purpose. I know the changes I saw in my visions are about to unfold, and the true test of my work and our preparation is about to begin. In the days leading up to October 1st, I intensify my outreach efforts. I make media appearances, give interviews, and hold a series of live webinars to reach as many people as possible with messages of preparation and hope. On the eve of October 1st, I gather an intimate group of dedicated followers for a meditation vigil. Together, we spiritually prepare for the changes to come, sending healing energy and love to the planet and all its inhabitants. As the clock approaches midnight, I feel a profound sense of calm and acceptance. I know I have done everything I could to prepare myself and others for what is to come. Now all that remains is to face whatever the future holds with courage, compassion, and unwavering faith in the power of love and human connection. As I sit here, reflecting on the incredible journey I've traveled since that fateful Christmas day a decade ago, I am overwhelmed by a mixture of emotions: gratitude for a second chance at life, admiration for the resilience of the human spirit, and a deep sense of purpose that continues to guide me every day. My near-death experience fundamentally changed the way I see the world and my place in it. I am no longer that confused and directionless young man who got into that car 10 years ago. Now, I see myself as part of something much larger, a collective consciousness in evolution, working toward a more enlightened and harmonious future. The work I have been doing to share my message and help people prepare for the changes ahead has been the most rewarding and challenging experience of my life. I see the seeds I've planted beginning to sprout, people awakening to their true nature, communities coming together in mutual support, and a growing awareness of the interconnectedness of all things. Looking toward the immediate future, I know the challenges we will face will be immense. The climatic and spiritual changes that will begin on October 1st will test our resilience, our compassion, and our faith in ways we can hardly imagine. But I also deeply believe that these changes bring with them the opportunity for great positive transformation. I see a future where humanity finally awakens to its true divine nature, a future where we live in harmony with the earth and with each other, a future where love, compassion, and understanding guide our actions and decisions. I know the path to that future will not be easy. There will be moments of fear, doubt, and despair. But I also know we are not alone on this journey. The beings of light who guided me during my near-death experience continue to guide, support, and love us unconditionally. My mission, now and in the years to come, is to continue being a beacon of hope and guidance, to continue reminding people of their true nature, of their innate power to create positive change, to continue building bridges between science and spirituality, between the physical and the metaphysical, preparing the way for a new era of understanding and enlightenment. As I prepare for the events that are about to unfold, I feel a deep sense of peace and purpose. I know I am exactly where I need to be, doing exactly what I need to do, and I invite all of you to join me on this incredible journey of transformation and rebirth. The future I saw in my visions is coming, and while it may bring challenges, it also brings the promise of a new dawn for humanity. Together, we can navigate these turbulent waters and emerge into a brighter, more compassionate, and more connected world than we ever imagined possible. If you enjoyed this beautiful spiritual testimony, leave a like, comment your impressions, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to activate the notification bell to catch every new video and help us spread this message to a larger audience. Until next time.